Addicts, welcome to the Tour Junkies DraftKings preview for the 2021 Arnold Palmer Invitational from Bay Hill in Orlando, Florida. I'm DB, your host. I have the beautiful, the talented, the Ted Cruz-esque, formerly Kirby Smart, birthday boy himself, my co-host, my partner in crime, my buddy, my one of my best friends, Patrick Perry. 44 years old today, Pat. 44 years old. How you feeling, buddy? And happy birthday.
Well, I feel good. It's. I don't feel 44. I think I'm a young 44. You know, and here's the thing. I like even numbers. As anybody knows that listens to us, I'm very OCD. And not only am I an even number this year, because let's just say 2020 was just a crap show, and I was 43. But this year I'm 44, and I get a 4 and a 4. So it's like I'm getting all the best of both worlds. It's going to be a fantastic year. Cannot wait. And you know what? I'm ready to go for the Arnold Palmer. It's going to be a great course. I got a good little brew here. A little Compass Rose from Service Brewing Company, which is a local brewing company here in Savannah.
Oh, okay. I've got the Wild Leap tonight, little vodka tonight. First time I've had some vodka here in a little bit on the Tour Junkies podcast, but I'm going to rock and roll with it. The show is presented to you by our friends at Fantasy National. It's the place for stats, for if you need course history, if you need recent results, if you need all these stats and stuff for the PGA Tour, for the Korn Ferry Tour. FantasyNational.com is where it's all at. We've been using Fantasy National for like 4 years now. They're the go-to spot. Go to FantasyNational.com/TJ, and you get 20% off any membership level. They have weekly memberships, monthly, or annual memberships. And if you pick the weekly to maybe try it out, and you get the 20% off, and then you go the next week and go, this is awesome, I want it for a year, and you upgrade, you still get to keep the 20% off. And all the data at FantasyNational.com is clean PGA Tour data. They have a relationship with the PGA Tour, ShotLink data, CDW, everything that the Tour uses to get data. Fantasy National takes it, and it's all above board, which a lot of websites out there don't have that. So make sure you're getting it at FantasyNational.com/TJ. And you can put in a promo code there if you want. You don't have to, but FantasyNational.com/TJ is how you get the 20% off. This is going to be a fun show tonight. We are going to strictly be talking about DraftKings in this episode. We're going to try something different this week. DraftKings preview in this episode, and then we're going to wait about 5 minutes after we get done recording this. We're going to go live again on YouTube and get into the betting preview. So 2 separate podcasts and 2 separate YouTube videos for DraftKings or betting if you're interested in that. So make sure you check out the other show. We've got Pat's birthday tonight, and I'm very excited. We're going to have a few listener voicemails on each episode tonight. A couple listeners called in. Actually, a lot of listeners called in, Pat. I actually had to take some out, so I didn't have time to play all of them. If you don't get your voicemail played, I'm very sorry, but I will make sure Pat knows that you called and left him a voicemail. We just had too many options, but I'm going to play a few for you tonight on the DraftKings episode, and I'm going to play a few more for you on the betting episode. It'll be the first time Pat's hearing him, too, so we're going to get live reaction from the birthday boy. They're pretty funny. There's a couple of good ones in here. There's a couple of good ones. I'm excited about it. Are you excited about it? Or are you nervous?
I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. I will admit that it was hard for me not to listen to him, because I could see him coming in throughout the day. There were more than I thought would come in, so I was a little bit surprised. But I'm excited to listen to him. We'll see how this goes. And I appreciate you putting these together. It's weird that out of all the podcasts that we've done, this is the first time that I think one of our birthdays has actually fallen on the day of the podcast. So it's
my birthday will never fall on the day because it's in December. It's literally in like the 3 weeks that the tour isn't playing. So that will never happen to me. But thanks. Yeah, this is interesting. I do think it's the only time. If you are watching on YouTube, please leave a chat, a comment. Okay, we need your comments. It helps the algorithm. Now, if you're watching live, we see all the live love and we appreciate it, but that doesn't count for the algorithm. I don't know. YouTube's weird. After the show is done and uploaded, then put a comment on the YouTube page and tell Pat happy birthday and maybe a favorite memory you have of him, or do you think he looks more like Ted Cruz or some other person, figure out there? Like, maybe say that, and hit the thumbs up and the subscribe. Don't forget to do that. Pat, it was a good week. It was a good week. Colin Morikawa dominated another Jack Nicklaus golf course. He dominated another workday event. I don't want to get into it too much because concession was great. Love the golf course. You and I were not on Colin Morikawa. Our buddy Ben Little was, and Ben was in the Nut Hut, talking him up on Wednesday night. I was in there with him. He may have taken advantage of drunk me in the chat on Wednesday night, which I feel like is probably not the first time he's taken advantage of a drunk man. But that's just hearsay. I'm not confirming or denying that, but I do felt like I got taken advantage of a little bit. I lost a bet, Sung J M versus Colin Morikawa. Therefore, now Ben is going to send me a pair of pants. He's going to send me a pair of pants, very baggy, pleated, old school, like 90s golf pants that I have to wear at my next member event at Champions Retreat. So everyone will be wondering what in the world I'm wearing. And Ben's been like all over the Nut Hut soliciting pants ideas. And all of you in the Nut Hut who are giving him ideas, I see you and I know who you are. Okay. And I have your credit card information. Actually, I don't. It's tokenized. Don't worry about it.
Well, I hate that I missed this. Like it obviously got lit in the Nut Hut when I wasn't even in there.
Lit.
I took the night off, but I'm kind of glad it was you because I would have lost some bet to Ben, and it would have been probably worse than that. You've had to wear baggy pants before, but they were mine. They probably weren't as gross as the 90s, but they were probably close.
Yeah.
But I've changed my ways since then. I mean, I don't wear those anymore. So
a lot of people don't know that when Pat and I first met 6 years ago, Pat was still wearing pleated everything, shorts, pants. It was not until he met me that he got rid of all his pleats and began rocking flat front anything. So everyone, and Sally, your wife, can thank me for that. Anyway, I don't want to get into that, but props to our Nut Hut Listener League winners as well. B. McNerlin won the Puerto Rico one, 569.5 DraftKings points. Raleigh Lind won the WGC at 554 DraftKings points. Congrats to those two. You both are now going to make it to the finals in the summer for a chance to win a trip to come play golf in Augusta. Expenses paid with me and Pat. Champions Retreat, maybe another special place. We don't know. You got to find out. You got to get in the Nut Hut. You got to join the Nut Hut. And we got a couple special Nut Hut announcements coming up real soon. We're going to have a special guest here in just a few minutes. There's so many reasons to join the Nut Hut right now. It's insane. Before we go too much further, though, Pat, I want to go ahead and kick it off with a listener voicemail. And this is a special one. I feel like I had to do this one first. You know, sometimes people say you should save the best for last. I kind of feel like, people might be bored by the time we get to the end. So I want to make sure everyone hears this one because this one made me laugh out loud. And I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that we have this. I'm probably going to clip this at some point, save the soundbite, and play it frequently on the show. I'm very excited about it. And it's from none other than the man you shared a sack with, and that is your identical twin brother, Chris Perry, DirecTV Perry, as I like to call him, Perry 2.0, as some people call it.
Here we go.
Who is also his birthday. So happy birthday to Chris. Much love, man. Wish I could see you on your birthday, but you guys, this is a good one. I can't wait for this one. Is everybody ready for DirecTV Perry? Let's hear from him.
Good evening, Tour Junkies. This is DirecTV Perry.
Sounds just like Pat.
Or Pat 2.0, whichever you want to use. I'm just calling to wish my brother a very happy birthday. What better way to celebrate Pat's birthday than this past Saturday at the Landings Club, Pat's private gated community, where we played golf, and on the 15th hole, a par 5, he had 250 yards into the green. He smoked a 3-wood.
Smoked it.
Just seemed like it was going straight for the group in front of us. He thought he had him. He yelled 4.
4.
We had a quick laugh. We raced ahead to apologize to the group in front of us, where the old lady turned around to him and said, "You weren't even close. He's 40 or 50 yards behind us. Don't worry about it." Happy birthday from one short knocker to another, Pat. Have a great night. Cheers.
You had the old lady tell you You weren't even close. You were 40 to 50 yards behind.
Let me say that, with
250 out.
In every voicemail and every story, there's always a little bit of an embellishment that comes with every story. But I can honestly say that there was no embellishment with that story. I hit that 3-wood about as good as I can possibly hit a 3-wood, and we thought we had killed this old lady up there. And no, I mean, she could have just said, "Hey, thank you for calling," saying 4 like a gentleman. No, she had to actually say, "Yeah, you weren't even close. I don't even know why you even yelled 4."
She lit you up. Bradley says he pounded that 3-wood 225. Bradley, I don't think it was 225. I think 225 is generous.
It was actually, I will say that was where Chris was a little bit off. It was probably about 225 because I remember I shot it to the green, and I remember thinking there's no way I can get it there anyway because I think it was like 265 to the green. So I was about 40 or 50 yards short, but it was like 220, 225.
You hit it on the titties, didn't you? You hit it right in the center.
Oh, I've smoked it. That's why I thought I was going to kill
somebody.
It was straight at the pin too. It was straight at the pin. I was like, "This thing is the best shot I've hit all day. I'm going to hit the first par 5 I've hit in 2 and since I was in college." And that did not.
old Barb put you on blast right off the rip too.
She was actually, Chris can attest, she was actually younger than we thought. We say old lady, but she was younger.
Oh God! In the comments. In the comments, just give me a name for who that old lady might have been. Give me a name. Like, what do you think her name was? Gated community.
Really short. Let me describe her though. She had like really short hair, but it kind of flipped out the bottom of her like bucket hat. Like, okay.
I mean, that story I loved it. We're gonna hear from a couple more. It's gonna be great.
DirecTV. Good job.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, that was amazing. I thought that was a good one. All right, Pat. Let's get into this. So with this new format, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have, we're gonna have a little bit longer maybe to break down some of the DFS stuff, the DraftKings plays, kind of talk through that a little bit, and then we're gonna have the sportsbook episode later, in a different episode. So we'll have more time. Let me text our guest real quick. Let me see. Because I thought he was supposed to be ready, but I don't think he's there.
Well, I can start us off, and then if he comes in,
Go ahead. Arnold Palmer Invitational. By the way, you see my hat? It's got a little, where is it? This is so confusing. Oh, I'm doing the wrong thing. See my little Bay Hill logo right here? Love it.
Love the Arnie hat. All right, so yeah, we are at the Arnold Palmer Invitational this week in Orlando, Florida. At Bay Hill Club. It is playing 7,454 yards. It is a par 72. We've got 123 players in the field this week. Remember, it's an invitational, so it's a little bit smaller field than you might see in your normal regular PGA Tour event. But we still get T65, and ties will make the cut after 36 holes. Bermuda pretty much tee to green here. They do overseed the rough with rye, and they can get this rough up pretty damn thick, I can tell you that. But we've seen recently kind of around some of the hazards, they've shaved the rough a little bit, made it a little bit quicker as far as the runoffs. So it brings some of the players used to sort of use that as sort of a buffer, but now it just kind of runs off into some of these hazards and bunkers. As far as the greens, though, they are definitely running quick. Typically, they run about 12 on the stump. That's all I'm really going to say, because you know what? Here's the thing. We got this expert coming on that knows a lot more about this course than me, and I don't want to say anything he's going to immediately say, "Pat, you are totally wrong in what you just said." So I'm going to cut myself off to give our boy, well, I'll let you introduce the guest, DB, but then we can talk about stats and everything else and plays and blah, 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 blah.
Fantastic. So we have a new guest tonight that you guys you've never seen him before. You've never seen him on the Tour Junkies podcast before. He's a friend. He's a loyal follower and listener of the Tour Junkies podcast. Been a PGA Tour caddy for over 10 years and knows these golf courses very, very well. And he's just a great guy. He's going to be popping in the Tour Junkies podcast a little more often. And we're excited to have him. Producer Sam, if you could go ahead and bring up Mr. Caddy John Rathouse. What up, dude? You're muted.
Oh, we're starting off on fire.
He's handsome though. Look at him. Still can't hear you. Handsome devil. Look at that guy. Well. Okay, producer Sam working with him. Producer Sam is working with him. Let me tell you something about John, though. So John's been, again, doing this about 10 plus years on the PGA Tour. He's going to be in the Nut Hut. I'm really excited about that. Me and Pat have been talking to him about it. Like I said, he's a loyal TJ guy, and we've already got him set up in the Nut Hut. So if you see Caddy House, that is John in the Nut Hut. So he's going to be every week. He's going to come into our Caddy info channel on the Nut Hut, and he's going to write up some key things about every golf course each week. Again, he knows these very well. He's caddied on a bunch of them. He knows what to look for, and he's also going to tell us a little bit about like when we're being stupid, we're being idiots. If we're like, oh yeah, you need to watch out for this grass or whatever. He's just going to be like, guys, that is completely false. So John's going to be in there mixing it up in the Nut Hut, mainly in the Caddy info. You might catch him chatting around in the Nut Hut chat or whatever. You can ask him some questions. It may show up on a Wednesday night occasionally as well, and mix it up in the live chat with us. But for the most part, you're going to catch him in the Caddy info section and hear a lot about what he thinks on these golf courses. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an added bonus to the Nut Hut. I'm really excited about that. Yet another reason to sign up for the Nut Hut. You get free access. Well, not free, but $10 a month is almost free to old Caddy John. Do we have him? No, I think he's dropping expletives. Okay. Sam, just whenever we get it figured out, we can just bring him up. Anyway, I think it's a good reason to be in the Nut Hut is more Caddy info with Caddy John. Pat, you're getting into Bay Hill a little bit. We do know it's a second shot golf course, which a lot of golf courses on the PGA Tour are. We know it's Florida Bermuda greens. We know it's we know that wind is a big factor. We know that it's a Florida style course, bunkers, water everywhere, all that good stuff. So it's your typical Florida track. It's probably, I would think, similar to what we saw at Concession. Last year played really tough with Terrell Hatton winning at like 4 under. I think there were 4 names under par. It was quite blustery.
It was very windy. I mean, you had 25 mile per hour plus wind. So I don't know if last year is a year that you're going to, judge everything off of. But the course can play very difficult. I do think that you need to look at some of the corollary courses, your Florida courses like PGA National. I think you look at Sawgrass. I think you look at Doral. Those are some courses that if you're wanting that corollary course to look at, that I would, just pay attention to. But, the fairways are pretty wide here. They're not very difficult to hit. But I do think you can see a lot of different players play well here. You look at the past champs, Terrell Hatton. You mentioned Francesco Molinari, not particularly known to hit it that far. He won it in 2019, Rory in 2018, Leishman in 2017, another really good wind player, but not necessarily that long off the tee. And then Jason Day in 2016. And before that, you had Matt Every win 2 years in a row. Okay, Matt Every isn't scaring anybody on the course when he walks up to the first tee. Okay, but he knows this course, he knows it well. So I do think that means something. I think form, and I think that knowing this course and some course history does matter some this week. So that's something I'll look at also. But
he won it 300-1 the second time. As the defending champ, he arrived, Matt Every, as the defending champ, he arrived at 300-1 in 2015, and he won again. Insane. Bay Hill has definitely paid Matt Every's bills. All right, let's get into this. So obviously you're gonna have a high percentage of 6 of 6, a little bit higher percentage of 6 of 6 lineups in DFS with the smaller field and top 65 and ties getting through. Let's talk about it, Pat. Oh my God, I have a massive eyelash in my eye. This is we're off to a roaring start on your birthday. I'm about to lose my eye. Let's start. 9K and above range. We're going to give you 3 GPP or tournament plays and a fade. We can take our time a little bit. We can bathe up in it a little bit because we're not trying to rush and get to the betting stuff, and it's separate show, so we can kind of bask in it for a second. You know what I mean, Pat? I'm excited about that. Pat, birthday boy, I'm gonna let you have the honors, bud.
Wow, I was about to bask in this beer that I'm pouring right now. By the way, the last few shows I've tried to really take it easy on the show, but tonight I'm gonna probably get a little bit drunk. but that's just what's going to happen. It's been a while since
you're
I've
overdue.
done it on the show, but I'm probably going to do it. But for me, I am going to start with Victor Hovland at 10-6. I love him this week, and I love him just if you look at the way he's been playing lately, it has been absolutely incredible. I mean, the guy has – I don't even think he's finished outside of the top 10 in an event in like, I don't know, 2 freaking months, it seems like. I mean, you look at his last few. He was T2 last week, T5 at the Genesis, and then T2 at the Farmers. The guy just continues to play well. You look at the stats. I mean, he is he's definitely looking good there. He's number 1 in the field in ball striking. He's 14th in strokes gained approach, 3rd off the tee, number 1 in greens and regulation. Now, his putting is a little bit suspect on Bermuda grass, but I don't care. The guy is just playing fantastic. I love him at 10-6. And then I'm going to jump down to another guy that I'm going to ride him until he bucks me, and that is Matthew Fitzpatrick at 9,800. I like him as well. Same thing as Victor Hovland. He's 13th in the field in ball striking, checks the box in approach, also off the tee. Now, he does putt a lot better on Bermuda grass. He is 5th in the field in putting on Bermuda. So at 9,800 for tournament lineups, I will play some Fitzy. As a matter of fact, if you want to play him in cash, I'm going to give you a cash play. I will play Matthew Fitzpatrick as a cash play this week. And then I'm dropping down to a guy that, you know what, I didn't believe him. I didn't believe in him. And I lost a bet because of him. And I still don't know what he looks like. He still confuses me. I think one day, I think it's actually Jason Day, and then I think he's Jason Knight, like DB said. But I'm going to take him this week at 9,200. Another guy, you know, you look at his ball striking, he's doing well there. Also off the tee, 22nd in the field. He's 28th in greens and regulation, top 10 in the field in putting on Bermuda. And his form has been good. His history here is good. He knows this course well. So I like Jason Day as a GPP play this week. And then I'm going to I got to fade Tommy Fleetwood. I'm flating Fleetwood at 9,000. And it's really just everything. There's nothing that makes me want to play him other than he's going to probably be super low owned for a guy of his caliber. But I just haven't seen anything recently that makes me want to put my money on him, whether it's on a bet, whether it's in DFS, in a tournament, whatever. I don't want to do it. So Fleetwood will be my fade this week. So there you go.
Okay, Pat. Well, this is very interesting. This is going to be an interesting conversation because there's some definite agreement here. But before we get into that, you know, I got to say last week we had this super chat phenomenon in the live YouTube chat that went bananas, and we ended up getting $300 raised in the super chat because you have your little worshipers in the general nonsense chat in the Nut Hut, and they started throwing in dollars, and then I had like 2 people who helped pay up, and we gave all the money to my wife's charity, 28 Bold. And now it's coming in again. It started off with our boy Helm, who I know is a very active leader, maybe you could say lieutenant, maybe captain in the Pat's Army in the general nonsense section. And he sends a message, happy birthday to our savior, Patrick H. Perry, #nonsense. And he donated $69. $69. Then Ryan Miller follows it up with a super chat at $19.99 US. Happy birthday to our savior, Pat H. Perry, #nonsense. I can't get over the freaking savior stuff. It's really beautiful stuff. It's not. Anyway, that's what I think it is. Pat, man, I thought we were gonna clean sweep this because the 3 names that I wrote down, the first one was Victor Hovland, and I mean, the guy is playing so good right now. You talked about it. The chip on Sunday was amazing. He could have won the thing if not for the 8 or 9 that he got.
He made it 8 on 18 on Saturday. He's like one of the last finishers on Saturday. Makes an 8. He smiles like he just took the best hit of weed he's had in forever after the 8. I mean, it was like I was like, he does not care. And then he just comes back and is just. It's amazing. Or maybe that was Friday night. Sorry, that was Friday night.
I think it was Friday. I mean, his game's so good right now. Now, I'm pretty sure he's going to be the chalkiest name up. I mean, I think everybody. But, I mean, wow, how can you not play him? Like, I just feel like last week was a week to fade the chalk because, you know, it's a WGC event. There's so much volatility. There's not a cut. I don't know if I can bring myself to fade Victor Hovland. He's just playing so freaking good. And the approach play, which is so critical here, the form he's in, I mean, it's really the off the tee game is incredible too. Not enough people are talking about that. I'm just going to play him. I think I'm going to play him no matter what. I mean, he'd have to get like 35% for me not to play him. I'm sure Ben's going to look for every reason to make him the chalk bomb, but there's no way you could do that. There's absolutely no way you could do that. He's just too good right now. He's too hot right now. Victor Hovland, what a stud. So I can't help but play him. I'm right there with you with Matthew Fitzpatrick. At first, I got to be honest. So I was looking at this. I was like, 9,800 for Fitz? I don't know. But then the more I looked at it, you talked about how good the approach play's been. I mean, he's 6th in this field in the last 50 rounds, strokes gained putting on Bermuda. So we always know the putter's great. He played good last week. Like, I think 9,800, like, I'll pay it. You know, I'm going to pay it for Fitz. I think it's a good move. I think he's a good option here, especially with wind potentially being a factor 1 or 2 days here. And this may be turning into, you know, it's not going to be a 4-under win, but it's probably not going to get to like 16 under, you know, or 17 under. It might, but I don't really see that happening. I think it's going to be, you know, similar to like a Genesis, 14, 15 under might win it. Fitz loves this place too. He absolutely loves this place. He talked about it. And then from there, I am going to play for the first time this year. I'm going to play Jordan Spieth. At 90.
Oh, I thought you might go that route. I'm okay with that. I'm okay.
You know, I think I'm gonna give it a shot. I wonder if people will maybe go somewhere else just for the lack of Bay Hill experience that Jordan Spieth has. This is not a regular stop on his rotation. But I mean, even in the last 24 rounds, you know, one thing that we I don't know if we talked about, but we should have, is how important par 5 scoring is. And the par 5 you got to eat. He is 5th in this field in the last 24 rounds in par 5 scoring. I think, you know, and again, going back to like the potential that this turned into a little more difficult, maybe a little bit of a grind fest. I just like that potential. It's kind of open off the tee, I'm pretty sure. That allows Jordan to spray it a touch, and I'm okay with that. The iron play has been sharp. I feel like I might get a little bit of, you know, slightly lower owned Jordan at a place where I think he could win it, and you know, and has the guts to pull it off in this kind of field. So I'm going to go with Fitz, Hovland, and Spieth. My fade, and then we're going to try our guest. I think we might have John. My fade is going to be the top player, and that's Rory. It's tough to pay up for him when you consider that he hasn't won in over a year. He's not won a golf tournament in over a year. Now, he did play well last week. I kind of backdoored a 6th place finish. The value's not great. If I'm going to go up that high, I'd actually rather play Bryson this week than Rory. I think you're going to get him a little better ownership. In the last 24 rounds, Rory, 61st in approach, 56th in around the green, and only 25th in par 5 scoring, which you wouldn't think that would be the case with Rory. In the last 50 rounds, putting on Bermuda, he is 44th in this field. Now, he has a great Bay Hill record. I understand that. But at that price, you need Rory to finish top 4, top 5 in DraftKings scoring, which obviously he's very capable of doing it any week. But I think I'd rather take my chances, go down, eat the chalk with Hovland, find some leverage somewhere else, and just let Rory go this week. So I think that's what I'm going to plan to do. Now let's plan on seeing if we continue our technical difficulties, and let's bring in Caddy John.
Oh, what's up, fellas?
All right, Caddy John in the house.
Oh,
Dude,
I'm so sorry about that.
was it technical difficulties on your side?
I think I had it open on my computer too, and then I had to use my phone because I got this janky old computer. So I think it was my bad, but Sam figured it out. I'm sorry to do that to you on your birthday, Pat.
Hey, listen, no worries. We're glad. Listen, if anybody knows, you know, what it's like to have technical difficulties, it's me.
That's true.
So I don't need to be talking about anybody. I can't give you any kind of shit for that. That's for sure.
Well, I was thinking about this heading in, you know, and maybe I just got in my own head a little bit. I was like, how could I compare this on tour? Like, I feel like I'm like the first alternate in the tournament, and some big name withdrew, and like I have to go to the tee, and it's like, Mickelson and Justin Thomas.
Which one? Like me and Pat or Mickelson and Justin Thomas?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just throwing two superstars out there.
Oh,
and
Pat's clearly Phil in this scenario, obviously. Yeah, definitely. That's very nice of you to say. Yeah, be like Phil. Give us a like. Hit the like button while we're talking about Phil. Be like Phil. Give us a thumbs up in the YouTube page here. All right, John, talk to us a little bit. I kind of teed you up. I talked about your background, talked about your presence in the Nut Hut incoming.
Yeah.
But let the people know, you've never been on the show before. So tell people a little bit about the caddying background, a little bit about yourself, and then tell us what you know about Bay Hill, buddy.
Right on. Yeah. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. That's where I'm at right now. I've been a caddy on the PGA Tour the last 16 years, really. Started in 2004 and, had a number of bags over the years. Mainly came up with John Merrick, and then I jumped on to Brett Wederick for a while, and then was with Seamus Power, who I know is a show favorite, and then was with Martin Laird here recently. So definitely have some experience around these golf courses. And then my wife and I had a baby recently, so I'm kind of back home now, and I'm kind of getting into this fantasy game a little bit. I'm the Caddy Network, which you guys should all subscribe to, follow on Twitter. I've been doing some stuff for them, and then you guys have tapped me too, and so I'm excited to be working with you guys.
Love it, man. Love it, John. Yeah, John's doing some stuff for the Caddy Network, just kind of previewing the golf courses, but gonna be in the Nut Hut on talking about some stuff in the Caddy Info channel, right?
Yeah, I've got my stuff ready to post for tomorrow. Some inside info on Bay Hill specifically. Some things that I've learned over the years. Don't have a great track record at that golf course, but certainly know it. I've caddied a handful of times, and on the weekend some too, and definitely have a familiarity with some of the players and also the caddies. And so going to try to drop some of that knowledge and help you guys put together some good teams if it makes sense to you.
Yeah. Well, look, man, don't be too hard on yourself about the history, dude. Like, you're not swinging the stick, right? You're just,
well,
that's right.
I'm curious about what you guys think about that. Like, not to get off topic, but what do you guys think about caddies and how they contribute to, players, and if there's any correlations there, or if anything matters, if a guy's caddy's not there that week or anything like that?
I will say that
being the most OCD person alive, I'm going to jump ahead of him here. If Pat were the player and anything was off with his caddy, you could just in Sharpie just DFL and next to Pat's name if that were to happen. He'd be so out of sorts because his regular person wasn't there. It would be impossible. It
would shake him.
Yeah.
That's actually very true. Yeah. I mean, I like things to be in order. And so if for some reason my caddy and I was a tour player, I may probably just withdraw. I probably would just withdraw. I'd be like, I'm not doing this. But I do think caddies are extremely important for one. And I also think that if a player doesn't have his caddy or something's, off there, who knows? I mean, we know that nowadays too, with COVID and everything else, you don't know what can happen from a week to week standpoint. I do think it's important for that regularity, on tour, to have your guy every single week. So, and also when you get older, like me, when you're 44, regularity is also a good thing to have. Okay. So we're talking about all kinds of things for people here. But yeah, I mean, for me, big fan of what the caddies do and how they do it, because I think you guys do a very professional job, a job that is something that's not to be overlooked. And you also are that different set of eyes for these guys that they just don't. I mean, they're studs at what they do in playing golf, but they don't see all the things that you do on a week-to-week basis on tour. So, yeah, I think that a caddy is very important for a player and how well they're going to play that week.
Cool. I was just curious what you guys thought.
Man, we're getting continued super chats, donations here. Pat 2.0, Chris Perry donates $100, $99.99 to the 28 Bold. Awesome, thank you there. John gave us another $10. Somebody else earlier I missed. Dylan Garassi gave us $10. Appreciate it, fam. You guys are the best. All right, John, tell us what
my son is in the chat again. Okay,
yes,
this is what is my son doing in the chat again? What is happening here, Harrison?
Harrison.
Wait a second. Let me look at Harrison. You have 10 minutes, and then you have to be in bed. It's lights out. Okay.
This is a real professional operation that we
Sorry.
run.
Go ahead. Anyway.
All right, John, tell us what you think about Bay Hill. Now, don't give out all the gold because we got some of it for the Nut Hut. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you this. I was thinking about it. Like, I think if you ask players on tour, like, what's your favorite golf course? Like, Bay Hill wouldn't even be on a top 5 or a top 10 list. Like, it's just, it's not a very pretty golf course, and it's kind of unfair at times, I feel like, the way that it plays. So, you've got these, I mean, I was talking to a couple caddies that are there this week, the rough's up. So I think it's going to be the normal Bay Hill that we're all used to seeing. The rough's high, the fairways aren't too narrow, but the angles can be kind of weird. So, it's not always easy to hit fairways, but you get it in the fairway, and then you're coming into these very firm greens that are pretty darn small. And, you've got high rough around the greens too. So it's one of those courses where, I don't know, it's not my favorite course on tour. And I think it plays really hard. And I was looking at the forecast this week with that kind of northeast wind. The temperatures are going to be a little bit cooler. And I kind of overheard you guys talking before I jumped on that it is going to be one of those weeks where I think maybe not that 4 under is going to win, but it's going to be closer to 10. And it's going to be kind of a marathon, not a sprint, in my opinion.
Love that. How does the Tiff Eagle Bermuda kind of, when you think of like typical Florida grainy Bermuda, would you say that's how these greens look?
Yeah, they're grainy Florida. I don't know, I struggle to say which ones are grainier than others. The ones at the Honda really come to mind as being pretty grainy. I think these are kind of very slick, and sometimes you get the grainy where it's like it depends on the time of day, and then it depends on kind of the type of putt you have, whether it's going to be affected by the grain tremendously. So, I mean, anytime you're in Florida, grain's a part of it. And I think these get so fast and so windswept this week that down grain so fast, and then, you get those side grain ones where you're having to kind of, factor things in. It's always a challenge putting on Bermuda.
What off the tee, you mentioned you talked to some folks saying the rough's up a little bit. Obviously with firm greens, not ideal to, just kind of US Open Bryson this thing and try to just bang it down there and hold onto these greens, you think?
Yeah, no, it's not. I think I read somewhere, I heard somewhere that on tour, if you hit it in the rough at Bay Hill, it's the hardest greens to hit in regulation from there on in. So yeah, that bomb and gouge thing isn't going to work. You might get away with it for a day, and you might get away with it for certain hole locations and certain wind directions. If it's into the wind and you kind of have that extra and you have a back pin, like maybe you can feed something back there, great. But by and large, for an entire tournament, if you're missing a lot of fairways, you're not going to be overly competitive this week.
You think Bryson's going to go for it off the tee on what is it, 18?
On 18.
Is it par 5?
No. Oh, the par 5 is 16.
16.
Yeah, and that'll be playing downwind. And so I don't know. I haven't been there in a couple of years, but I know guys are bombing it down there. He'll probably have driver pitching wedge on that hole. And I don't know. Maybe he can hit it into the water there. I mean, it's got to be 400 yards to reach it, maybe more. But that hole, that hole is interesting, and you'll see it on the weekend. You play it downwind, you're like, oh, downwind par 5, this is going to be cake. And yeah, you hit a good tee shot, but then they put a front pin on you and you're going over water, downwind, down grain. All of a sudden, you're in the back of the green and you've got this slick little downhill lag putt. So
yeah,
it's a tricky golf hole, and it's a tricky golf course.
John, do you still think, when you look at this course, I know it's like measures almost 7,500 yards, but when you're looking at just initially this week, the type of player that can win here, do you still think it's almost anybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. When you look at the leaderboard here from years past and you look at the type of guys that play well here, it suits all styles of games. And, much like Sawgrass does, length definitely comes in handy, but I think ball striking wins out here.
Love it. Caddy John, tell us, what is it? Twitter? Is that what you're mainly on? What's the Twitter handle? Pump up what you got going on.
Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at Rathouse, RATHOUZ. And then the Caddy Network, like I said, give us a follow there. We've got all sorts of cool content that's, related to guys caddying on tour. And then I've been posting some videos on Tuesdays and then again on Friday, just kind of with some picks for the week and stuff for fantasy golf.
Love it, man. And John's going to be a familiar face here on the podcast as well as weekly in the Nut Hut. So hit him up, make him feel welcome in the hut. And John, we appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, happy birthday, Pat.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, John.
All right, have a good show, guys.
See you, dude.
See you.
Rat House, Caddy John. He's the man. We really appreciate him. All right, let's pick it up where we left off. Actually, before we do that, let's hear another voicemail. Speaking of caddies, Pat, we did have another regular caddy on the Tour Junkies podcast. Call and leave you a voicemail and actually put a little effort into this. Let me just say, guys, a little inside info. Outside of John here, most caddies, they don't put a lot of effort into anything outside of caddying. Like, that's kind of what they do. They're known for that, right? This guy put in a little bit of effort, and I really appreciate him for it and making you feel special, I hope. And, let's hear this next happy birthday voicemail here.
Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Go, Pat. It's your birthday. We gonna party because it's your birthday. We gonna sip rosé like it's your birthday. And we don't give a funk because it's your birthday. You can find him at the club making lots of dubs. Look, Pat, I got some tips if you want to stop being a scrub. And I think he's into sex and probably making love. But we gotta ask his wife if she gets taken care of. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Go, Pat. It's your birthday. We're going to party because it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Pat. I love you. Brett Swedberg. Goodbye.
Shout out Brett Swedberg.
Oh, Sweaty. That was awesome.
You can always count on Swedberg to bring whatever you're talking about. You could be talking about giving a piece of bread to a duck. You could be talking about buying an extension cord because you need one. Or you could be talking about, looking at a National Geographic and not the nudie pictures. And Swedberg is going to bring it back to sex. That's just what he does.
He does that, yeah.
Thank you, Swedberg. We appreciate that. That was a beautiful message from a beautiful man. If y'all have never seen Swedberg, that's a beautiful man. There's some handsome caddies out there, man. I mean, I tell you what, dude, there's some handsome caddies. You got a woman, you need to hide them from the caddies out there. All right, let's talk 8K range, Pat. I'm not in love with this range. It's okay. I'm not in love with it. There are two names that were pretty clear for me here. Maybe there'll be a little chalk. I don't care. Again, I guess I'm going to differentiate down here at the bottom. But I'm going to go Francesco Molinari, a former champion who's striking the ball rather well right now. And based on what our friend Swedberg just said, I think it suits him even better. So one of the things I looked at on Fantasy National, I kind of sorted by the last 5 years, strokes gained ball striking at Bay Hill specifically. I want to know tee to green, but throwing out around the green. So off the tee and approach, who are the best players in this field over the last 5 years? And Francesco Molinari ranks 13th in that category. This course is not too big for him, obviously, as a winner, and I think it's a safe bet right now, considering the recent form as well for Molinari, coming off a T8 at the Genesis, top 10 at the Farmers a little while ago too. So I like Molinari, and then I'm going to go back to him, man. He kind of disappointed me a little bit. He came out hot in the beginning of I think on Thursday last week, but Mark Leishman just kind of couldn't. God, he kept making big numbers, which Concession definitely had some big numbers lurking. But he just made too many big numbers last week and didn't really finish like I wanted him to. He ended up finishing T39. But when you look at that strokes gained ball striking number at Bay Hill over the last 5 years, Leishman ranks 7th in ball striking. Also a former winner, finding his form all over again in 2021. Checks a box, par 5 scoring, putting on Bermuda, stroke gained approach. That's just kind of it for me. Like, I mean, there's a couple of names in here that I'll be like, okay, I don't mind it, but those two for me really stood out, and that's where I wanted to go in the 8K range. My fade is Billy Horschel. The $8,900 price tag for Florida Gator Billy Ho, friend of the podcast, friend of the Tour Junkies, good guy. But he is a Gator fan. He's a Florida Gator. I don't like the price in this field, in the strength of field that you have here at Bay Hill. Don't love it. And in the last 24 rounds, he's 105th in this 21-man field in strokes gained approach. That's not good. 60th around the green and 45th in par 5 scoring. He's really putting stupid well. Okay. And last week was the first time in 8 measured events that he was positive in the strokes gained approach metric, which may mean he's on the upswing, but 8,900 for Billy Ho. No, thank you. Even if ownership is like 5%, I think I'm out. Not doing it.
Well, I am going to start it off then, and then I will just counteract the play you just said, and I'm going to play Billy Horschel at 8,900. I like him a lot. He's one of my GPP plays. We could make a bet here if you want to. We need to maybe come up with something.
And we have a new bet tool. We have a new bet tool.
I like Billy Horschel to play extremely well this week. As a matter of fact, I was not really feeling some Billy Ho last week, but we had a few astute Nut Hut listeners who were on him, and they kind of got me thinking about him. And you know what? I like him again this week. If we're talking about, a Florida course, one that, he's a Florida guy, obviously. He's used to playing on Bermuda and these type courses. I know the price is a little bit high, but I don't mind that. I like him a lot at 8,900. I noticed that strokes gained approach number. But greens in regulation, he's 12th in the field. He's 9th in strokes gained off the tee, top 10 in putting on Bermuda. I think Billy Ho makes a lot of sense this week in tournament lineups. So as long as he's not too highly owned, I will play him at 8,900.
He's not going to be too highly owned. No, we got to talk about this. He's not going to be too highly owned. We have time to talk about this, so we're going to do it. He's not going to be highly owned, I don't think, because of the price. I don't see it happening. Not to mention that last week was the first week in 8 measured events that he was positive in strokes gained approach. He also gained 5.6 strokes putting last week, which, again, Bermuda, he's familiar with Bermuda, that's for sure. But even on his best Bermuda days, he's not going to average. Like, there's some regression potentially coming there with the flat stick. And I just don't, at 8,900, Pat, like, do you think
it's hard to say there's going to be a lot of regression for a guy who traditionally putts extremely well on Bermuda grass?
Well, even guys who putt extremely well on Bermuda don't gain 5.
Well, they regress, but if you're looking at it over time, that there's less reason to say he's going to regress when he has a history of putting extremely well on Bermuda.
This is funny. Spazbite in the live chat says loser gets a Florida Gator tattoo on the lower back. I can tell you
that's never happened.
That would never in a million years, in a million of those years happen. But we do make a bet here, Pat. I say we make a bet. I think at 8,900, you need Billy Ho. I mean, what you count on a top 15?
Top 20.
A top 20. Okay. I say he finishes top 20 or no. I say he finishes T21 or worse. You say he finishes.
Well, then give me the 20 number. I want the 20, not like a 19. I want 20.
Okay, I just gave you the 20 number. Yeah. I gave you
let's do that. All right, 20 or better. I'll take it.
And so, producer Sam, I'm about to maybe throw you off here for a second because I want to play a video clip here. Or whatever, this thing we have. So we've been waiting on this, a Pat and DB bet to go down, okay? And we have this special thing that's going to tell us it's got a bunch of different penalties. So let's spin the wheel, okay? And whatever it lands on, whoever loses has to do whatever the wheel says. So here we go. Okay, well that sucked. Gummit. The technical difficulties tonight are just out of this world.
What is wrong with the wheel?
Let's try one more time. Let's try one more time. Here we go. Mother F. What is going on? Producer Sam in the chat, tell us what it landed on, and we'll go from there. Good God. Anyway, Billy Horschel bet. Jeez, what are we even doing? Should we just stop? Should we just quit? Okay, 7K range. Let's get to it, Pat. Who do you like in the 7K range? 3 tournament plays and a fade.
Okay, well, good Lord.
Oh, okay. I'm getting word in my ear. It landed on a shoe shot. So one of us has to take a shot of alcohol from a shoe on next week's show live. We will not do that in a video. We'll just do it live so it doesn't crash on us. So one of us is taking a shot.
A shoe.
A used shoe. So like go grab your Monarch and fill it up with some bourbon when Billy Ho finishes T21 or worse.
Okay. All right. Well,
I would rather do that than the ranch water shot that I had to take a few months ago.
Yeah, that wasn't very good. All right, in the 7K range, I'm going to start with a guy that has just been on fire, and that is Cameron Tringali at 7,700. You look at par 5 scoring, one of the things you talked about earlier in this show. He's top 10 in the field there, top 10 in ball striking. This is over your last 24 rounds. He is third in the field in strokes gained approach, and top 15 also in greens and regulation. I love Cameron Tringali. The guy's just been on fire lately. His form has been great. So I will play him at 7,700. And then here's another guy I never expected I was going to write down again this year. And that is Charlie Hoffman at 7,600.
Of course,
you look at it. Look, the guy has great history. I know that, but his form has gotten better. Now, there were some injury scares earlier in the year, but if you just look at it, he battled it out. He didn't even just quit. I like what he did. I mean, the guy didn't, he had injuries and he still played, and he's played well recently. And you look at the stats, he is top 15 in the field in ball striking, top 25 in strokes gained approach, 12th in strokes gained around the green. No, sorry, strokes gained off the tee, third in greens and regulation, putts well on Bermuda. I like some Charlie Hoffman at 7,600. I think he is going to be a good play this week. And then if we move down to the bottom here at, where am I? 7,000. My boy, Wyndham Clark. Wyndham Clark. He's going to be a play that is going to win. I love him this week. Wyndham Clark again.
Let
me tell you something. This guy's just, he's going to win this year, I think. And I think on a Florida course for sure. Look, he was the 54-hole leader at PGA National at the Honda Classic just a couple years ago in 2019. He's been in good recent form lately. You look at the stats. I mean, the guy is just, across the board, he's looking okay. He's 40th in the field in par 5 scoring. He's 15th in the field in strokes gained around the green. 25th, 4th in Bermuda putting. I think Wyndham Clark is another good play, cheap at 7,000. I like him as a bet as well, so I will play him this week. And then my fade is going to be Siwoo Kim at 7,500. Look, here's the thing about Siwoo. You missed the boat, okay? Siwoo comes and he goes. Siwoo, when Siwoo's in form, you play him. When he's not, he's like he said, we've heard before, Siwoo go home. And Siwoo went home, okay? He's home now, doing whatever. I mean, you may actually see him on the course, but in his mind, he's home. And so, until he comes back, and he'll come back, and but you did not pick him at the right time if you play him this week. You missed it. So Siwoo Kim is my fade at 7,500. If you want better reasons, I'll give them to you later in the Nut Hut. But right now, just don't play him. You missed it. You missed the Siwoo boat.
Which, by the way, we were on the Siwoo boat. Yours truly put him up in the betting card just 4 weeks ago when he won at 66-1. But I wrote down the exact same thing for the fade. Well, if you want a few reasons, he's lost 18.9 strokes total here in 5 years. For whatever reason, he no like Bay Hill. He's awful putting here, especially. Very bad putting here. 3 missed cuts in a 50th since his win. So he won, and then exactly what Pat said, Siwoo went home. He finished 50th and missed 3 cuts. What was the thing he famously said? One of our caddies told the story. He said, "Let's go in," or like, "Let's go in now," or whatever, when he wanted to give it up when he was in like 4th place at the Wyndham or something.
Yeah, he was like, "We go home."
We go home.
By the way, I've heard some chat here in the chat that I missed my 8K fade. For me, it's Harris English this week at 8,300. I mean, what the hell?
What was he doing, man?
He had 2 rounds in the 80s last week. I still want video of what happened on that hole where he hit a putt 3 feet.
When he chipped 6 feet.
Yeah, but then he hit a putt like 3 feet when he had 40 feet to the hole. Now, I've done that before. I have the yip. Sometimes I've done that before. But Harris English shouldn't do that. And if he's doing what I do, look, here's how you know how to fade a person. If he does the same things that you do on a course, that people might laugh at you and you might be embarrassed and say, like, I shouldn't, like, I need to go home right after this hole, then you don't play him. You fade him. Okay? That's what happens.
Yeah. If you've smoked a 3-wood 225 into some old ladies before, you need to fade that guy. Hey, speaking of this, we have a quick giveaway we're gonna do for the Nut Hut. So we want to give away a free membership to the Nut Hut for April and May. Those are big months. April, a little thing called the Masters. Ever heard of it? Yeah. May, ever heard of another major? I think it's the PGA Championship. I can't remember. I have a really bad memory of stuff like that. Anyway, a lot of big golf events in April and May.
May's PGA Championship.
Yeah, we're going to give you a chance to have a free Nut Hut membership for both of those months. Okay? God bless America. My eyelashes are... all right. Here's all you got to do. Just sign up for Monkey Knife Fight. Go to Monkey Knife Fight. If you've not already signed up, go to monkeyknifefight.com. Sign up with the promo code Tour Junkies, all one word. monkeyknifefight.com, promo code Tour Junkies, all one word. Make a deposit. They'll match it up to $50. Here's what you got to do. You sign up with our promo code Tour Junkies, make a deposit, play a real money game. You could play a $10 game, okay? You do that, and guess what? Monkey Knife Fight lets us know, and we hook you up with a chance. Or not with a chance. You're going to get, if you do it, you get a free membership to the Nut Hut in April and May. So if you do it now, don't be emailing us, "Oh my God, where's my free membership?" We will get it to you. We'll hook you up at the end of the month, preparing for April and May. You'll get a free Nut Hut membership. It'll be awesome. Excited about it. Really pumped about Monkey Knife Fight doing this thing for us. We're trying to win some money over there. I want a little bit of a cold snap with the Monkey Knife Fight lock of the week, but I'm still up in dollars. Okay. It's fun over there. You're picking some props. You're not having to compete against other sharp players. It's just, you versus the props that Monkey Knife Fight lays out. It's a great site, great fantasy site. And it's legal in almost every state. If you can play DraftKings or FanDuel or whatever, you can play Monkey Knife Fight. So check it out. monkeyknifefight.com, promo code Tour Junkies, all one word. Make a deposit, play a real money game for like $10. And you're going to get on the list for a free Nut Hut membership in April and May. All right. 7K range for me, Pat. I tell you what, I'm going to start with my boy, Taylor Gooch. The Gooch is loose this week at 7,900. I don't know that a lot of people are going to pay up for him given where he is, but he loves this golf course. He plays this course well. He's a great total. Oh my God. What is going on? He's a great total driver of the ball, and loves this course. I'm going to go with Taylor Gooch. I think I'm going to get some ownership leverage there. Then I'm going to drop down, get down low, and give the people some price. I'm going to give the people some savings, Pat. 7,000, Chris Kirk. Ever heard of him? Yeah. He's a Georgia boy. He's a winner. 27th in this field in strokes gained approach over the last 24 rounds. 26th in par 5 scoring, which surprised me a little bit about Chris Kirk. I didn't think he was going to check that box, but he does. Has played Bay Hill well in the past. So I like Chris Kirk. And then I'm going to go with the old faithful Orlando man, Ian Poulter. Loves him some Bay Hill. Has always played Bay Hill pretty well. Checks the box in the ball striking category that I was mentioning earlier here at Bay Hill. Just came off, an okay finish at the Puerto Rico, I believe. Let's see, where did he finish at Puerto Rico? 35th. Okay, whatever. Shook the rust off. Here he is in Orlando. He's a grinder. If John's talking about, getting up and down, saving pars, picking your spots, being in the fairway. That's Ian Poulter. And I think you're going to get a little bit of leverage, and you get a price savings of 7,300. So some leverage plays, low owned, low cost, Chris Kirk, Ian Poulter, and then I'm going to go up and pay up for Taylor Gooch. I don't think a lot of people are going to pay up for there. And I'm fading Siwoo. In the 6K range, I don't love it yet. I might come around on it. I think Matthew Naismith at 6,900 is probably going to be one that a lot of eyes will be drawn to given the current form. The guy's a really solid iron player, very good iron player. Fun fact, Pat, actually, his swing coach, Pat's not even paying attention.
I'm not.
His swing coach is Gary Crescent, who actually has given me golf lessons. Isn't that weird? He coaches out of Augusta Country Club, where you grew up.
He's given me lessons before too.
Has he?
Yeah.
So how about that? Matt Naismith's golf coach has given both of us lessons. That actually may be a reason to fade him. So I like him. I like Brendan Steele down here. Listen, you give me Brendan Steele. I know I say his name a lot, but you give me Brendan Steele, who's a multiple PGA Tour winner, hits it a long way, at 6,900. Who, if he's in contention, can win in this field. I think that's good for a GPP. I think that's great win equity. And actually, he's not bad here either. 28th in this field in ball striking at Bay Hill in the last 5 years. So I think Brendan Steele is interesting, coming off of a few good finishes here to start the year. Should have won a couple. Should have won. What was it? The Sony. Should have won that one. So I think Brendan Steele is interesting. Down a little further, Harold Varner III at 6,800 interests me some. But I think a really interesting pivot play at 6,800 that a lot of people aren't going to pay attention to, and I like him even more based on what John told us, is Patton Kizzire. He doesn't have a great record here. I'm not worried about it. But Patton is playing very, very well right now. He's a tremendous Bermuda putter. He's 11th in this field in strokes gained around the green over the last 24 rounds, 39th in strokes gained off the tee, and get this, 15th in strokes gained par 5 scoring. Patton Kizzire in this invitational field in the last 24 rounds is 15th in strokes gained scoring on par 5 and number 1 in strokes gained putting on Bermuda over the last 50 rounds. I really like Kizzire at 6,800. I think that's a very interesting play from him, and he's been playing okay this year. So that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I don't mind the Patton Kizzire play. As a matter of fact, he kind of popped a little bit for me just based off of, playing well recently. I think this could be a good course for him. So I'm with you there. I like Patrick Rogers at 6,800, a guy we've seen play good recently. You look at it, he was T12 at the Genesis, top 30 last week at Puerto Rico, has an excellent course history here. You look at his he's played here 5 years in a row. He missed the cut one time in 2017, but had a T20 in 2016, top 7, or was T7 in 2018. T46 in 2019, and had a top 25 last year. So you get a guy that I know is just erratic as far as where he finishes and whatever else, and you never can pin him right. But this is just one of those courses where Patrick Rogers seems to play well. So I feel like you can be a little bit more confident with him this week at 6,800. So I like that. And then Cameron Percy down at 6,500. He's another guy we've seen play extremely well recently. Now, he hasn't played this course all that much, but you look at the stats, he's 26th in the field in strokes gained approach. He is 4th in greens in regulation. He's 17th in the field in proximity. Oh, I brought it up just for DB. I wanted to bring a proximity stat up there just for you. 52nd in the field in ball striking, which isn't bad for a guy at 6,500. So Cameron Percy, in good form. I think he is a great play this week as far as a cheap GPP play at 6,500. And other than that, that's about it for me down here.
Love it. Hey, listen, Daniel, Danth, I guess. I can't say his last name. $50 in the super chat. Thank you for that. We've raised almost $280 in the chat tonight. Again, another 200. This is amazing. You guys are awesome. We appreciate it. That's going all to 28 Bold. We'll make the donation tomorrow. Pat, on the way out, we have one more listener voicemail. This is an actual listener that we're going to play. I believe it's a Nut Hut member. We're going to play right here at the end to send you out for this show on your birthday episode Oh my, another $50 coming in.
Whoa!
Silent. Our boy Joe Keps, I think, is
Got to believe in the army of Pat.
That's Army coming in strong. He says green screens from the nonsense this week. Oh God, Joe. I believe actually, Joe, your voicemail is in the betting preview. So heads up. All right, let's have a voicemail on the way out here, Pat. Happy birthday. Here you go.
What up, 2J crew? It's Nut Hut member John, aka JJ Gully 02. I'm calling to wish a happy birthday to the old man Pat Perry.
Old.
I really don't know how old he is, but if I had to guess, I would probably say 60, 61, something like that. So the good thing,
That's just absolute. That's ridiculous.
At 60, you can now play from the senior tees, Pat. So that's good. Oh, and also I wanted to just remind him to make sure he puts a little extra scoop of fiber in that red stripe of his and that oatmeal in the morning. So you guys take care. See you in the Nut Hut later.
Nut Hut member John, the red stripe reference got me.
Yeah.
I was really happy about that. Was that the Danny Woodhead episode? What was that?
That was the Danny Woodhead interview. Yeah.
Yeah, the one and only time you've ever had red stripe on the show. Unbelievable.
Nut
Hut
just want a red stripe, man. I mean, I don't know.
No, that is not true. Nut Hut members showing up strong. Pat's Army showing up strong. Now, I guess near $350 raised. Thank you. If you're don't forget, if you're listening to this, we're going to hop over and do another show for the betting preview, talk about some of the outright odds, top 20 numbers, blah, blah, blah. Have a good time with that. A few more listener voicemails are going to make that show. If you're watching live on YouTube, we'll be right back up in about 5 to 10 minutes. May your screens be green for the Arnold Palmer Invitational 2021. Pat, happy birthday. See ya.